the women and a solid example of breaking the stereotypes of womanhood. It's always hard to make a mark in the minds of people, but she is a person who motivated the young minds with her speech to aspire for the best. She assumed office as Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry on May 29, 2016. I'm very happy to share something to you, ma'am. In my school days, I had got an opportunity to enact one of your speech, which you delivered. And right now, I'm indeed honored to wholeheartedly welcome you, ma'am, on this occasion. I request our chief guest, respected Dr. Kiran Bedi, to deliver the University Day address.
Thank you, Dr. Vishwanathan. What an impressive university it is. I'm so proud of Indians like you, fellow Indians like you, who look ahead and create a vision. He is a gain to the world of education and loss to the Indian Police Service. Do you know why? You know that. He qualified for the Indian Police Service and he got Manipur and Tripura cadre, and he ran away from the Northeast. So he's a loss to the Indian Police Service, but gain to the larger world of education. But a rare politician who had had such fantastic innings as a politician, as a member of the parliament, as a member of the legislative assembly, and worked with such stalwarts. So he was again there, but I think a further loss to the world of politics. But again, a very big gain to the world of education. So thank you, sir, for doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. We need you. And you have a fantastic team in vice presidents in Mr. Vishwanathan. You've got three Vishwanathans. So I could say three in one or one in three. Shankar Vishwanathan, Dr. Shekhar Vishwanathan, and even Kadambari Vishwanathan. Fantastic. And then, of course, you have a vice president, Mr. Selvam, Dr. Samuel as the vice chancellor. And then you have Dr. Gunashekharan, pro vice chancellor, Dr. Raju, pro vice chancellor, and Dr. Narayanan. You have a fantastic team. Where do you get it from? It's so difficult to get teams these days. You are what your team is. So you chose a great. I asked him, who are your trustees? See, because it's the team members which make the leader. Leader alone is just one, but a leader is what the team is. So I think what Dr. Vishwanathan has done, and that's also quality of a leader. He's also fortunate in choosing the right leaders, in having a great leadership. And of course, your academic faculty, the teachers who are reaching out to the thousands of students across India. It's truly a national university, because I saw one person from Delhi as well. Somebody from Assam, and somebody from Calcutta, and somebody from Jabalpur, all over. It's fantastic. Truly national integration of the north and south. Assam, including east. Your VIT says a place to learn, a place to grow. Let me first congratulate you that you've also been one of the finest. You got one of the best awards as the finest university in India. That's a very rare award. It's not easy to get. I want to congratulate each one of you for being a student of the university which stands out in India today amongst the private universities. I'm sure you'll do better and better, and now go to the international level and make a name for yourself. You deserve it. You will get it. I'm sure you will. I'll tell you how you can get it. I thought with you as I sat down listening to you and feeling you. I've identified a few steps and questions as if I would to rate a university. How would I rate a university? Not besides the placements which you get, which you said 94%. That's of course a very measurable criterion, very measurable element, because you finally have to earn a livelihood for the skill you've picked up. But what are the intangibles which go along with you? There are tangibles and the intangibles which the university gives to every student. which I collected from my school, from my university, Punjab University, Chandigarh, where I studied, and I studied in IIT Delhi for my PhD. What are the tangibles and intangibles one gets? I think that's the key. And I listed out some criterions for you. What you're doing, if you're doing them, then that's why you're the first. But if you want to be still the first, then look at some of these ideas. You made me think sitting amongst you. Number one, measurable of a great university would be, what kind of community leadership does it throw up? What is the kind of community leadership? Now when I say community leadership, means how many of you went back to the villages, went back to difficult areas and became a community leader along with your entrepreneurship, etc. So you have to earn a livelihood. But how many did this university or does a university throw up community leadership? Through the community leadership, we were, both of us, Dr. Vishwanathan and I were talking about, he says, I'm very, very concerned about crimes against women. Well, every one of us is. Look at the way women are being assaulted. By whom? Not by women, but by men. So should the crimes against women movement be by women or by men? By whom? Who should be the prime movers and transformers and shakers of this movement? Women who are being victims, or the perpetrators, which are the men? Who? Who should be? Who should be? Men. Have you ever seen a major transformative movement of a whole city coming together, whole university coming together, whole township coming together, whole village, men, young men coming together saying, we will not tolerate any crime against women here? In India? Have we? Have we? We haven't. So you want to be the best university? Begin the movement here. Begin the movement. Tamil Nadu has a problem. Tamil Nadu also had a problem. But we be the transformative community leaders. You see, I'm only talking of a thought which we both shared on the podium. Is crimes against women. If boys, the young men, not boys, young men whose mind is imbalanced, obviously you have to be imbalanced to be doing this. You have to be ill-educated to be doing this. You have to be a crude man to be doing this. Why don't men say, we dare to see, we'll see how, rather than being onlookers, like the other day, a crime happened in Delhi where a woman was gang raped. People just looked on and went away, men and women. But the public space is a lot with the hands of men. Public space is a lot, much more men. So why can't men be the preventers and be community leaders? So number one, my point is, does the university create and throw up community leadership? A community leadership which responds to social issues like this. And community leadership which is transformative. Can we sit down, sir? Sir, can we sit down?
Sure, sir.
Because I will forget my thought. I'm right now a teacher. By the way, I was a teacher also. I started my career as a lecturer in political science before I joined the Indian Police Service. So I'm therefore wanting to be having a class which is undisturbed. And I want my students to listen to me, okay? So, and I want the students to take away the message. We are here to invest so many hours together. To do what? Not just a social event, but to take away something which will stay with us in our lives. Take away which changes us also, which impacts us. All of us are investing time, which is very precious. And each one of us has options to use this time elsewhere. But the fact that we're choosing to be here means this is more important. And to take away something out of it is the gain of the investment of hundreds of hours collectively, which we are investing into the ceremony. So number one, creating community leadership. So what I would say is, why can't one movement in India, which is shaming the country as a whole, is a crime against women? And it's crime against sisters or brothers, daughters or fathers, isn't it? Or wives and spouses, wives of husbands. So men should be more angry than the men about women. Because women are victims, they've got to be angry. But men should be more angry because the whole mankind is being today being accused of this. Whole mankind, the whole male race is being considered as a perpetrator. The whole male race is under suspicion today. But patani, when will this man commit a crime? So we will say, not me. And I'll make sure not him. Whoever is next door. So I think this is one thing, community leadership. If this is a movement started, I guarantee you, I'm going to give you these steps, you will be in the international ranking of the universities. I guarantee you that, if you do these things. But it has to be a continuous movement that any student of VIT, girl or a boy, man or a woman, anybody, and certainly a man, will ensure prevention, will ensure become a security provider rather than be a suspect, number one. Number two is, a lot of you university students go and join the public services. You join the all its competitive examinations. You join state services. You join public services, banking, government services at the all India level, at the grade 1, group A, group B, group C, group D. All levels are. University colleges throw up students who join at all levels. Why should it throw up a chief secretary, must have studied from a great university, who's got 5 kgs of gold in his house? Where is he coming from? Did he not go to a university? The question is, does a university, the second measurable of a great university is, does it throw up courageous public servants? Courageous public servants who have the courage to say no. Courage to say, this cannot be done. This money from this budget cannot be diverted to another because there is no budget provision. The budget would be protected. I know what I'm saying this. Because as Lieutenant Governor, I have financial responsibilities. That's why I'm called the Lieutenant Governor. I'm not called the full governor. I'm called Lieutenant Governor. And as a Lieutenant Governor of a union territory, I have financial, not powers, responsibilities. And when a file comes to me and I find that there's certain money where the budget provision has not been made, but an announcement with to be politically popular is being diverted from a particular fund, I have the courage to say no. Raise the money, find the money, not borrow the money, find the money, raise the money, earn the money, and then come. Otherwise, sorry, regretted. But if it is for an absolute poor, we say yes, we can now, in this phase, it's an infrastructure, we can go and take a loan, but then we'll have to pay back the loan. But we cannot divert an essential money from here to there without making a budget provision. So why should a file even come to me for approval if you have strong public servants themselves who are at the different levels of director? There are deputy directors, secretaries, deputy secretaries, whatever. They could say sorry. Finance secretaries who could say no. Why should it come to the Lieutenant Governor to say no? Where are those public servants? I'm only giving you an example, not that it's happening in Pondicherry much often. It's an occasional situation, but this is happening in every state today. Where are these boys and girls coming from? They're coming from prestigious universities. Otherwise, why would they make it to a top level all India civil services and public services? They're bound to be from very good universities. So therefore, we need second test of a wonderful university is courageous public servants. I'm not saying honest. I'm coming to integrity level. Courage includes that integrity to be courageous, to say no or say yes. It's the courage to take a. So we must throw up more courageous public servants. But what's happening is suddenly when a public servant, young man or a woman joins public service, he is afraid. He becomes afraid of the next posting, next assignment, next transfer, and next what next? Next house and next boss. So whole courage goes straight out of the wind. And now he's insecure. Even when he has a job over 30 years, he or she is the most insecure person because now he's afraid of the next assignment. That is not education. Education is where you are not afraid. You have the courage of conviction and you are committed to the public service and you deliver. So are we creating courageous public servants? And many of you, and you are since coming from all over the country, you will naturally be sitting for services all over the country. Ask yourself, am I the same person? Do I have the courage of conviction while being in the publics? Was this not my education? Was this not what my teacher was saying? Was this not what my chairman or my chancellor or my vice chancellor is saying? Be courageous. So second test, friends, is the passing of the test of courageous public servants. Third is innovative entrepreneurs, which you've been awarded right now. How many of you have become innovative entrepreneurs, which you got patented, where you got patents earned, entrepreneur? And how many of you formed small companies? How many registered your product as friends together right away? And how many of you knew the Government of India schemes where you could start your startup right away? This is the third test which a university ought to pass. Now these are all thoughts which came, which you inspired me sitting right before you to think about. How do we test a university? How do we measure that while we measure placements, we measure the value of jobs and the salaries it earns. But the third, friends, is innovate. What is a percentage? And then how many of you go into internships? Why shouldn't everybody, there's an internship act today. How many of you, why should not everybody go for some internship or the other during the career, in the graduation level or the past? Do internships, do volunteer to intern. You may get an honorarium or you don't, but entrepreneurial, innovative internships where companies are formed while you are still working together, where friends come together and start up companies, and the banks, etc., give you the guidance of companies formation. Fourth, how many does such a university throw from graduate or the master's level, throw people like our own chancellor? How many throws up honest grassroots public servants at all levels? Why are we not having better alternatives at the political level, at the panchayats level, at the state assembly level, at the member parliament? How many from such universities are we having honest grassroots public representatives? How many? If we did, that's our credit. To me, that's the measurement that will obviously come through alumni. But to me, going back to what we have achieved is a very important part of measurement of a university. How many? It's like Nobel laureates. When you go to MIT, you go to Harvard, they give you a whole list of Nobel laureates we have created. And how many Nobel laureates are teaching. So should we have a gallery of our achievement. Gallery of how many have we, this university has thrown up the grassroots leadership who is continuing to live up to the standards we set for him. So this is my fourth point. Fifth, how many creative professionals? Creative professionals could be into teaching. They've done great authors. They're into media. They're into writing. They're authors. They're classical dancers. They're creative people, creative professionals. The whole world is open. How many of them belong to such a university or a university? It's a very important measurement of the past. So past measures the present. Remember, it's a past which is the measurement of the present also. Not just the tangible, but the intangible, which has gone back and contributed to the society. Sixth, how many patriots, really passionate patriots, has this country created? This is also overlinked with the transformative leadership I talked about, community leadership, but patriotism. How much of patriotism have we spread into where they say, my India first? Where, as I was thinking about your event over in the morning, I was just wondering, you must know that you are preparing for next whole decades. You have a whole life ahead. So what are you thinking about India? How are you looking at building India? How are you looking at my role as an Indian? My role, our role. My role, our role. Woman's role, man's role. Young man's role or a professional's role. Where is my role? India had to bring in demonetization. Why? Because we were more on hiding income rather than declaring income. All the time our whole effort was, there was a whole massive parallel black money economy. Why? Because there was more, the effort was how much can I hide rather than how much can I declare. That's why demonetization happened. And you know, one of the very good feedbacks I have received from some of the officers who went for election duties in the UP recently, particularly from UP, I asked them, how was the election this time? He said, madam, it was problem-free this time. I said, why? Because there was no money for buying. There was no missing part. They said two things were missing. Money was missing, muscle was missing. Because with the money, muscle was bought. You see, they were bought to say, go muscle out cow at the votla. So there was no tuku because there was no money to buy them. And there was no money to give them to say 1,500, 2,000 rupees each. So money bags had vanished. I don't know where they went. Some even went to garbage bins, I know. Sometimes I also heard that some notes, 500 notes were found floating on the Ganga. So somebody had thrown those bags into the Ganga and they were found floating. So some went into trash, some went into the Ganga, some went into maybe those Jan Dhan Yojanas, those programs. No, kya? No. Jan kaun sa account hai? Jan Dhan accounts. So they suddenly became fat. They had no account and suddenly the Jan Dhan accounts became fat. So at least the money went back to the bank. So it comes back into circulation. So friends, this is how many patriots, law-abiding citizens, have we produced it? So remember, this is our India now. And our India is looking exceedingly promising. Touch wood, let's keep our fingers crossed. Let God's grace be remain. But India is now assured of a great progress. If the current policies remain, consistency remains, and this kind of sustainability remains, I think we are in for a massive change. It demands every one of us to put in our might into the growth of this country. It's now or never. But it is now. Now has come. You people are very fortunate. You people, I tell you, are very fortunate. We went through a system, I went through a whole career system where my integrity was at a demerit. This usko, मैं इसको range में मत post करो. क्यों? क्योंकि ये किसी की बात नहीं सुनेगी. नहीं ये इसको मत भेजो, ये कुछ खाने नहीं देगी. So they would post me to jail. See, that's why I went to jail. I became IG jail to be locked up. The only thing is, I opened the gates for community instead to come and reform. The point is, I opened up. They locked me up, but I opened up the gates to community entry so that the people could be reformed and they get out and don't come back, these jailers, these prisoners. So question here is, why? Why were at that time some of us, not now. Now they look for who can reform. They post them. Then it was push them, they're difficult people, push them out. Because they are courageous, they are honest, and they will go by the rule of law, put them to the hard jail. So this is, today's situation is changing. Now they're looking for merit. Now they're looking for integrity. They're looking for leadership which can deliver administration because they want results. Why is a particular selection of a particular state being fully considered? Because promises have been made and those promises have to be delivered. So you need leadership, not puppets. Now you need leadership. So puppets are being replaced today by leaders. So you are in a very wonderful situation. Merit today, entrepreneurship, innovation, it's your time. You have to understand times have changed for the better for you. So next my point is, how many Indians students who we gave up? I'm sorry, the list is a little long. I've only reached the 7th point. I've got 2 more points. 7th point, my friends, is how many of us as students became givers? How many of us became givers? Givers to society back. How many of us became corporate social responsibilities? We decided all my earning, 1% will go for some support. Do we pledge at the convocation saying all I earn, I will return to society at least 1% of my income. I'll put it aside and I will donate it for a cause for which I am already linked to. So while you are as a community student, so before you become a community leader, when you already are a student and you start taking up community projects, which you have, I've seen this, that you had community projects, but every student should be box plus. What is your plus? Where is your plus? And that plus should be your 1%. And that 1% should go to that plus. for which you were already associated with. So as 6,000 students of this campus, everybody should be books plus. And in that plus, supposing it's Swachh Puducherry, Swachh Chennai, you planting trees, continue to do that. That means you will continue to, that's your passion, continue to plant trees, continue to revisit those trees, continue to nurture them, continue to do a nursery as your books plus. So in that is giving Indians. Now giving Indians, giving is learnt when you are small, not that you become old. Then you are only looking at what is my pension, what is my saving, what can I give to my grandchildren, and not at the moment you have no grandchildren, you have no pension, you're only into it with yourself. It's time to add books plus. In that books plus should be that giving India spirit, and when you pass out and you get those 94%, this university, 6,000 should be contributing to wherever you are, making your own groups and creating your own areas of community service. In that you donate 1% on a regular basis. This is what happened in my life. I became a community giver and a community leader at the age of 14. When I became a member of the Red Cross, when India-Pakistan had a war, I was a part of the blood donation brigades. I used to go and sweep the hospitals. I used to help in cube formation. I used to do all kinds of interesting things to serve my country from the age of 14, and became an NCC cadet, and also went to camps living with minimum for maximum adventure and learning. So you become giving Indians. Seventh point is this. Eighth is making learning a lifelong habit. Education is not limited to exams. Has education become a lifelong learning for you? If this has become a lifelong thirst, you've achieved it. But if it is stopping with exams and stopping with a degree and stopping with your business, but not a lifelong habit, I think then that value addition has gone. And last but not the least is, let me look at, finally, does it raise values or only teaches you get valuables? Does it only train you to acquire valuables but not values? So values plus valuables is the best combination, not only valuables minus values. If that is taught in the school and you pass out with this, and then when you go out, all this is value. Whatever I told you earlier, 8 points is all values to be added to your valuables, because all that placement is valuables, but not at the cost of values. But if values with valuables is learnt while you are here, then your university, you as a student in your university is world number 1. It's up to you. You have 20,000 people. You have 20,000 plus 26,000 plus. Imagine if everybody student was books plus, a community leader, an entrepreneur, has a courage of conviction, has a giving percentage declared, is a patriot, is a protector of security and law abiding for women. What an India would it be? What an India it would be. India would be an India of our dreams. It can happen within now. It's millions of students. If every university decides to have these criterions of the best university, besides placements, besides trophies, besides best research, everything has to go. That goes along with valuables. Otherwise, how will you earn valuables? Your money is needed, but money alone is not sufficient. It has to be value-based money. It has to be value-earned money. I thought this is what I would share with you. You inspired me to think for the first time that what is a university, because you're already a recognized university, an awarded university. I thought I would add my 2 pence to values of your society, university. Thank you.